haven't been able to do anything to our 22B build behind me in a week because I've been waiting on this one box. And I kind of took that week to take care of some customer stuff in the back, which I'll show you guys real quick. We may do some videos on that stuff in the near future. Now, just like we did with the RX-7, I stripped every single nut and bolt off of this car and sent them all out to zinc plating. And in this box is all of the hardware for the entire car. It took about a month to a month and a half to get these back, but we have all fresh hardware. So what this company does is they take all of the old hardware, they acid dip all of this, sandblast it if needed, and then they re-zinc plate all of this. So we can actually start reassembling the Subaru and actually bolting stuff on now that we have hardware. We can get things like the hood latches on, we can start bolting up suspension, we can start getting things just bolted back on. I am waiting for my front subframe to show up for this thing. We opted to go with a more sport tubular front subframe with the sway bar integrated inside of it. This is gonna be the most bougie Subaru I have ever built. And that's the whole point of this car, is to be like the most wild Subaru I have built. It's gonna be taken to the track. It's going dry sump, so it's gonna be taken to the track. It's gonna be abused. It's gonna be dailied. I am adding fresh air anti-lag on this thing, so that will be a fun video to shoot. We're gonna have to get a fresh air anti-lag valve with all of the tubes for the manifold and whatnot, but I'm excited for it. So let's actually start off by digging through this box and starting to get on some easy stuff that I can just see right off the bat, such as brackets, hood latches, things like that. All right. Now, I know what you're thinking. Do I know where all of this stuff goes? And my answer to you is absolutely not. We are going to have to actually figure out where a lot of this stuff, for the most part, nuts and bolts can really only go in one spot. They can't go in too many places because length or size or thread pitch. So if you do this and you have just a box of hardware and you don't know what to do with it all, keep in mind, for the most part, it can really all only go in one spot. Dude, the gold looks so good too. Now, I do wish that one didn't look like it sat at the bottom of Treasure Island, but it's too late to buy a new one. This one might be a little bit more difficult to put in. I just need to get it past the brake lines. Past the, there we go. Look at that. Dude, that gold looks so good on there. This guy, which almost looks like it bolts in there. Where do you go? So that has to have a bracket, I'm assuming. Right? I was struggling to find the bracket that holds that brake union up to the actual frame rail right there. Couldn't find anything in any of the hardware that we had sent out for zinc plating, so then I started going through one of my bins that has a whole bunch of parts in it and ended up finding the bracket. I just had this sandblasted from Ben. We are just going to powder coat this real quick. I was in a panic trying to figure out where this was because I can't get the fuel tank in, I can't get the rear diff brace in, I can't get the rear subframe in, any of that until these rear brake lines are kind of situated. So that is the main purpose right now. So this is the rear brake line bracket for the Union if anyone is in the same position as me and can't find it. So we're just gonna powder coat the silver real quick, get it reinstalled, get the unions and the brake line sorted, and then we should be good. Sparkly silver. Now that we have our bracket powder coated, we'll let that cure up in the oven, pull it out, let it cool. In the meantime, we are going to go ahead and rebuild our Brembos, so that way we are staying busy and good. We have a lot to do. Now, if you've never rebuilt Brimbos before, it's really not too bad to do. On the inside of the caliper, there is a single seal that kind of seals up the piston against the actual caliper. Outside of that, it's really just a dust boot. You lube everything up with brake clean, and then you just make sure all the seals are fairly flush on the outside, and it all just kind of goes back together. And bolt them all up. There is one small O-ring that goes between the calipers, but aside from that, this is one of the easiest types of brakes to actually rebuild. I'm assuming normal caliper is pretty easy too, but I've never tried on normal ones. Brimbos are all rebuilt. All of that zinc plated hardware looks so good on there. I am missing some of the bolts for the rear calipers. It seems like I have all the ones for the front and I have one for one of the rears right there, but I'm missing 3, so I can get those ordered tonight now that I know I don't have them. But these came out phenomenal. This is pretty close to the OEM black on the 08 Plus STIs. I didn't want to do the gold. I wanted a kind of a color neutral brake caliper, so it left wheel options fairly open, and black, you can't go wrong with black. So these are all good to go back on the car once we actually get suspension and everything on there. I got our bracket powder coated, so that way it's not going to rust. It still looks good, still looks brand new. So now we can get this installed and get back to these brake lines and hopefully get these things up on here permanently. Rear brake lines all taken care of. We have our bracket, the union bolted up, coming out there, running up and along, across over to that side. Same for this side. So now we can actually get the fuel tank in to get it up and off the ground and get back in the car. So I have some lovely guests right next door that are gonna help me get this thing in because I am not gonna be able to do this by myself. Let's do this!
Up and in, how many things need to get routed through holes?
Just that wire harness right here.
Just this one?
Just this. And it's gonna go through this hole right here.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, puppy.
There we go, there's that.
Hi, puppy.
Okay, so I've got left-hand side, which is Nate's side. Go up. And then it's gotta go.
Let's go inside here.
Yeah.
Cross-threaded.
Don't say that. Here, I'll do this.
Oh shit.
Here. Cross-threaded. I'm dead ass. I'm sending it. Oh, look at that, man. It's like a fucking fuel tank in here now. The outrigger supports. Maybe one goes on this side. There we go, because we have that metal big washer that goes on the top. Now it's actually in. That makes way more sense now. Okay. Make sure that they're nice and tight. We got a lot going on back here, you guys. Our fuel tank is in, straps are in. These are actually the factory GM6 straps with a GD fuel tank, and it works just fine. I did confirm that the GD fuel filler neck also fits because my GC one was all rotted out right here. I didn't have one. So that is good. This is gonna go to powder coat now that I know that the GD one actually fits in here, which is a huge plus. The rear differential brace is in. I've got the outrigger support brackets in here also. These have brand new bushings in them. They are, they're not solid mount, but they're like full poly bushings in both of these guys here. Fuel tank little cover guys are on as well, and then our brake lines are all done. So the rear of the car has come a long way. It is really nice to see that the GD fuel tank actually does just drop. It literally just drops right in. And the whole reason we went, this is an 05 STI fuel tank, the whole reason we went with the GD tank is the GD fuel tanks have, or the GD STI, I need to specify, the STI fuel tanks have baffling inside of them, which helps to keep the fuel from sloshing. It keeps it where it needs to, it keeps it surrounded around the hanger. So that way we're not gonna run into fuel starvation issues. We don't have to run something like a fuel cell, and we can still maintain that OEM look. Plus, I'm pretty sure the GD fuel tank is a couple gallons larger than the GM6 original one was. So that is awesome. After talking with the guys at iWire, they did say that we can still retain the fuel level reading accurately too, which is a huge plus. Now my new StopTech stainless steel braided brake lines came in as well. So I figured while I have them, we might as well just toss them on. There's no reason not to at this point. It'll also help secure up some of the hard lines that are just kind of floating around the car. So they're pretty easy. They just have one fitting that really goes in there. There is also a locking clip. I didn't show putting the locking clip on. With the brake lines on, the fun never ends. Now we need to actually press in the new rear diff bushings for the subframe. So I got some new ones from Whiteline. So we burned out all the bushings, and what's left is this metal ring on the outside, and that's still in the subframe. So I'm gonna try to cut it and then knock it out, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to get my press in there just to press out that inner cup. So I'm gonna try to cut it, bend it up and in so that way it kind of disforms a little bit, and then push it out. So this is gonna take a little bit of experimenting, but we'll figure it out, we'll get them out. So I'm actually going to put the bushings in the freezer in hopes that they'll shrink down a little bit. And you guys can see right there on that edge, that inner lip is what we need to get out right there. So I'm gonna use a Dremel, try to cut this out. We'll see how well that goes. If not, we're gonna have to figure something out to be able to get those two inner races out. I might be able to do it. Christ, man. There's one side. I did score the inside a little bit, but I'll Scotch-Brite it down before we put the new bushings in. That sucks. These are not necessarily fun to get out, but what you guys can see is I kind of cut an X into it and then broke the center section, and that relieves all the tension on this, so that way you can kind of knock it out. So one side down, one to go. Break this one. There we go. Now it's coming out. There it is. Ah. And her sleeves out. I'm gonna hit the insides of these with some Scotch-Brite, clean them up, and then we can try. I don't know. It's probably gonna be a real pain to get the new bushings in, so I'm gonna have to go find my press set up, but we'll Scotch-Brite the inside of these, clean them up a little bit, get our new ones pressed in. The rear subframe can't go in yet because I am still waiting on the 4 outer bushings, but these 2 are the press-in ones, and they're really just kind of a pain in the ass. I have an idea. I don't know if this will work, but I'm desperate. Okay. Just keep swimming. I gotta. Ow! Why? We're like right there, man. Right there. It's in. It's in. Rear diff bushings are pressed in. That was the worst to do. The bushings did not want to go in straight. They wanted to walk, slip off. Plus with the subframe being so big and so awkward, they're with a tiny little press, it's just not the easiest thing to do. But they're in, and the subframe is temporarily bolted in. Like I said, it does have to come back out again. But at this point, once we go take the trans and the rear diff to get dry ice blasted this coming Thursday, we can get them painted or powder coated or ceramic coat. I don't know what I'm gonna do, not ceramic coat, Cerakoted. We can get those in permanently, which will be nice because then we'll almost have a full rear suspension setup in the car. Well, not suspension, but drivetrain. On the bright side, these will make a decent difference. These are a lot stiffer than OEM, and plus the OEM ones were super, super old, so it only made sense to swap these out anyways. At least they're in now. We've got the rear diff brace here, which will actually hold the rear end up, and then it'll slide through these guys here. So as much as that sucked, I'm glad it is done. We also have these Botox bolts from Cartboy that'll help keep the rear subframe tightened down. So a lot of this is gonna be very, very tight. I think that is all I can do for today though. I think I'm at another stopping point until we go to our appointment to get that stuff blasted. And I'm once again at the mercy of UPS waiting to drop some stuff off. I need to find a new set of case halves for the engine for this car. The case halves I sent out, unfortunately, were damaged on the main line, so they couldn't be used. So I did not get done nearly as much as I wanted on this thing, but once again, I'm at the mercy of waiting for things. Once I have the front subframe, the coilovers, and a whole bunch of other stuff, we can actually start getting a lot more stuff back onto the car, because that's mainly what's, I can't get any suspension on. I can't start mocking up an engine to start doing any of that stuff. So once all of that actually gets in, we can start making huge progress, which it didn't show up today, so I'm fingers crossed hoping for Monday. I haven't really checked tracking yet, so maybe I should actually just check that. But with that, that's all we got on this video for the work on the Subaru. Like I said, we do have two engines back here. One of them is going into a 2015 STI Launch Edition. I may film that one. The other one is for that white RS that I have sitting outside as well. I'm just waiting on parts for that one. We do have a drop coming up at the beginning of November for another EJ25 giveaway, or $2,500 to Rally Sport. Winner will get a pick. I do like one drop a year, so I think I'm overdue for it this year. The FD, I'm just waiting on a working throttle position sensor to come in for that car. Once that comes in, we can get the FD fixed, tuned, and driving. I've been wanting to drive that car for weeks now, but I've just been on hold up for a TPS. So that's all I got for you guys on this one. So if you like the video, if you're stoked with the progress on the 22B build, which our wide body, I talked to the company, our wide body should be shipping out by the end of the month, so that way we can actually start molding it to the rear quarters, getting everything fitted up, painted, and making a ton of progress. We're just in this like weird spot right now where we're just waiting for a lot of stuff. So that's all I got for you guys. If you're not subscribed already and you want to be able to put it in one of these corners, no idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.